Hi, welcome to Nepi Invest. So I've done a few videos on Alexium over the past about 3 months or so, and what's been happening with Alexium share price has been quite interesting during those few months or so. We've seen the share price increase quite substantially on 3 of those days, so that's talking about a 25–40% increase and on very large volumes. So that is potential, what I call potential breaking out days, where the share price or the market's got excited about something, and we might see that as the catalyst for a long-term increase or a long-term uptrend developing. So I'm going to look at each of these trade days and decide whether this is a true breaking out. I have some filters to decide whether it is a true breakout in the share price. I'm going to go through each of these 3 days and to see whether it covers all my filters and whether we can call whether the Alexium share price is breaking out. So let's get into what I look for a potential breakout or a breakout. So the first thing I really look for is an increase in share price on really high volume. So that's the first sign. If you don't have that, then, which is most days for most companies, there's no breaking out. Second thing I look for is this increase in share price on high volume has to be backed by a positive announcement or a catalyst. And then the third thing, which is probably the most important thing, is the announcement. This positive announcement has to be an announcement with substance, or what I say meat, and not an announcement that's just fluff. And I'll get into the difference between those two in a few slides or more. So let's get into the first 2 breakout days or potential breakout days of Alexium. So this is the 6 months chart that goes from the 11th of May to the 12th of November. So the first breakout was based off a new technology they had developed, which was called Phonon, which is a perpetual cooling technology, which is I'm very excited about because I have some personal interests with that sort of technology. And not only did I get excited, the market got really excited. So it filters through my first filter for potential breakout, where we saw the share price increase on very large volumes. So the share price increased by 40%, and the volume was nearly 10 million shares traded that day. And the normal average shares traded in the day for Alexium was about 300 or 400,000 shares. So you can see massive increase in volume on that one day. Over the next few months, nothing really happened, but just after the US elections, a company called, or a fund manager called, they are a fund manager, they could be anyway, something called Next Investors. So they do Next Tech Stock, Next Small Cap, Next Oil Rush, Next Biotech. They are quite popular throughout Australia and overseas. And they put out an article about which 4 companies were going to benefit from a Biden presidency. And of course, Alexium was one of those companies. The market got a little bit excited, maybe not quite as excited about the Phonon announcement. The share price still increased 25%. Volume wasn't quite as much, only about 3 million shares on that day. So most of these breakouts were backed by positive announcements or catalysts. You could argue that the second breakout, in regards to an article about potential beneficiaries of Biden presidency, you could say that's really definitely a fluff announcement. First one is a fluff announcement. I'll get into why I think the Phonon announcement was fluff in the next slide. So this is the cooling technology announcement that saw the share price increase by 39% on really high volume. Now, when I talk about meat or an announcement with substance to it, I'm talking about some sort of announcement it's financial in nature. So for an example, a perfect example is a profit or earnings upgrade. Announcement where the company say they've just become profitable or they've become cash flow positive, that sort of thing. So the market really likes to see that. I like to see that. And typically when that happens, you'll see the share price go up on large volume, and that share price increase is sustainable through the next few months because it has some substance to it. The market likes it. You might see more fund managers coming in and buying in. So the market believes it, more confident with the company, that sort of thing. With a fluff announcement, the market gets excited in the short term. So you might see a bit of a boost to the share price in the short term, but over the next few days after the announcement, that interest wanes quite quickly. There's no substance again to the announcement. So those sort of announcements are an agreement with a larger company, a new product, just like a perpetual cooling or phone-on technology, MOU, which is Memorandum of Understanding, or just a fund recommending a company or putting out an article in regards to why they've bought that company. So that fluff announcement, that sort of thing, is any sort of announcement where there's a lack of financial details to it. The market gets initially excited, but that excitement or initial excitement wanes quite quickly. And this is that second announcement, up 25%. This is just the article. I'll put a link to next small caps. Share price, increased 25%, but it did drop away quite quickly in the next few days after that. And then what's happened the last few days? So on the 29th and 30th of November, we did see the share price increase by 19% one day and then 23% the next day on really, really large volume. So I mentioned before that 10 million shares traded on that phone-on announcement was quite high compared to the average volume traded. But this is significantly higher. This is 33 million shares traded one day and then 27 million shares traded the next day. So whatever happened on this day, the market got really, really excited about it. So because Alexium is in my long-term growth portfolio, I don't follow closely about the ongoings in the company on a daily basis. So when I saw this a few days after it happened, I got excited about the potential of an announcement of substance. That's why the market got excited. So I went looking for it, and what I found was this. This was the catalyst that drove the Alexium share price to go higher on that day. It was just an article from the Next Tech stock, or the Next Investors, and it was about why they invested in Alexium. Now, I did have a read of the article, and it's a really good read. So if you are interested in Alexium, I would have a read of it. It's free. So this Next Investors, all their articles are free. So they gain from just making money from their investments. So a lot of their articles are free. A lot of their advice is for free. So I think if you do like that sort of thing, for free sort of thing, have a look at this Next Investors. This article is really good. In fact, one of the reasons why they invested into Alexium is some of the reasons why I invested into Alexium also. And one of the main reasons was that Colleton Capital Partners have bought in a stake into Alexium, and Simon Moore is now on the Alexium board, and that's quite important for me. So again, this announcement had no meat to it, no substance to it. It was a fluff announcement. It's just an article written by a company why they invested in Alexium, and that's what got the market excited. So this Next Investors, they have some clout, and this is quite obvious. Just looking at the amount of volume traded, they have some clout in the Australian investing circles, and I've heard that they do have a bit of clout even overseas. But this was a fluff catalyst for the increase in share price in Alexium, and we've definitely seen that in the subsequent trading days. So this is the up-to-date chart for Alexium up to the 4th of December on the morning. So I did this video on the morning of the 4th of December, and we've seen the share price retreat quite quickly over the last 3 trading days. And so we've seen the share price drop by 27% from the high. So the share price got to a high of 10 cents on the 1st of December, and then we've seen good selling. We've seen over the last few days that selling has dropped away quite substantially. And even today on the 4th of December in the morning, we've seen not a lot of selling. Share price is going sideways. So I think some of that selling could be drying up right now. So what I'm thinking is what happened with this share price increase. We've seen a lot of new investors come into the fold of the Alexium, but a lot of old, stale shareholders have seen the potential to sell out of Alexium, because the Alexium share price about 3 or 4 years ago got as high as $1.20, if I believe correctly, and there's still a lot of negative sentiment in regards to Alexium. All you have to do is go to Hot Copper forums, look at some of the announcements or some of the chatter in regards to Alexium, and you can see still a lot of negative sentiment. So what has to happen for the future Alexium share price to be driven forward and go up in the future is a lot of those old stale shareholders have to be turned over into new shareholders who are more excited about the future of Alexium. And that turnover has probably been churning through the last week or so with this massive amount of volume happening. So probably a lot of traders, short-term traders, day traders also have got a hold of the story here and have been buying and selling as well. But even in down days, we've seen pretty high volume, 25 million shares traded one day, 13 million the next, and 3.6 million shares on the next. I'd like to see those volumes come down before I start to maybe put another little small stake into Alexium. And one of the reasons why a fluff announcement doesn't really last is because there's just a lack of confidence in regards to the announcement or the company. When you see an announcement with a substance to it, that gives confidence to the market. Not only to the market, to me personally. When I see an announcement about a profit upgrade, I'm excited because I see a future potential for the company. So with Alexium, I think when we see an announcement with substance to it, say in January they come out with an announcement saying they're going to be cash flow positive for that quarter and it's looking for good for the next few quarters, and then we see a share price rise quite quickly on that announcement. That's sort of an announcement where we're going to see the momentum of that share price increase go forward or move forward with time. So that's what I'm waiting for with Alexium, and that's when I might buy another small stake in the company. So I hope you enjoyed this video on Alexium share price breaking out. So even though I do have the question mark there, I don't consider this a breaking out with the Alexium share price. I'd like to see an announcement with substance to it, and that's probably the best way we're going to see the Alexium share price go higher from here on in. Otherwise, have a good day. If you do need financial advice for your own financial circumstances, make sure you seek out someone with someone who's qualified anyway. Otherwise, I'm not a qualified investment advisor, so don't take any of my advice at heart or take it to heed. Otherwise, have a good day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.